Yakubu highlight coming up in the bulletin this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
Government prohibits ministers of state from publicly announcing major policy initiatives or programs without securing prior cabinet approval.
Also tonight, cybersecurity experts caution government against passing a new cybersecurity bill in its current form, warning it could stifle free speech.
Education Minister Haruna Idrisu says he stands firm on his policy direction for teachers to use the mother tongue as a medium of instruction in early grade classrooms.
And later in business, downstream petroleum watchers project fuel prices to drop at local pumps, but consumers face saving uncertainties.
On the international front, Cameroon's 92-year-old President Paul Biya wins controversial 8th term in a fiercely disputed election.
We are live around the world on 3news.com. If you're watching us, you can send us your messages and we'll be happy to share it with the rest of the world.
We're starting on a rather sad note as News Just In indicates that a 5-year-old boy and 2 other members of a household have been killed after unidentified gunmen attacked their residence in Binduri on Sunday, October 26, 2025. 2 other occupants of the house, including a radio station manager, sustained gunshot wounds in the night attack and are receiving treatment at a nearby hospital. Although the motive behind the latest attacks remains unclear, security sources have linked the incident to the protracted Boko chieftaincy conflict. The Binduri shooting comes on the heels of several similar attacks reported in the Boko general area. Just last week, a gun attack in Garu claimed the lives of 4 people, including a teacher. A few days later, another shooting at a drinking spot in the same town left 1 person dead, bringing the number of deaths in Garu alone to 5. In a separate incident, a male teacher traveling from the Atuba market was gunned down by unidentified assailants, while a woman in Binduri was shot dead shortly after stepping outside to attend to nature's call. On Saturday, residents of Tempane were thrown into shock when a farmer was found dead in his compound with his throat slit. Security sources say that within the past 2 weeks, at least 13 people have lost their lives in attacks believed to be linked to the Boko conflict. Meanwhile, the private residence of the Member of Parliament for Binduri, Yusuf Mahmoud, have been set ablaze by unknown arsonists. The house, located in his hometown of Anisi in the Binduri district, was completely destroyed by fire. Police and military teams have since been deployed to the area to restore calm, while investigations continue into the wave of attacks across the eastern corridor of the Upper East region.
Let's shift our attention to some other stories now. And government has issued a sharp reminder to all ministers of state, prohibiting them from publicly announcing any major policy initiative or program without securing prior cabinet approval. The directive issued on Monday by the Secretary to Cabinet, Professor Kweku Dansobuafo, stressed the non-compliance violates constitutional protocols and the fundamental principle of collective government responsibility. The circular, dated the 27th of October 2025, noted a growing practice where some ministers bypass the established governance protocols to announce initiatives purportedly on behalf of government before they have been duly discussed, reviewed or approved by the cabinet. To ensure strict adherence, the ministers have been mandated to submit all proposed policies, programs or legislative initiatives to the Cabinet Secretariat for formal inclusion on the Cabinet agenda. According to the circular, this aims to safeguard policy coherence, uphold collective Cabinet responsibility as well. It also warns that without approval, any announced policy will not be considered a representation of government's position. Many have already been reacting to this directive from the Secretary to Cabinet, where a strict directive has been given that if you're a minister and you have any policy proposal, do make sure that before you publicly announce it, it has gone through Cabinet approval. But what does this mean? Already questions are being asked. Does this in itself stifle, creativity or the ability of ministers to initiate policy? Let's speak to Professor Enoch Entry, who is a governance expert. He's joined us via Zoom for this conversation. Prof, good evening and thank you for your time.
Brother, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. What would your initial thoughts be on this directive from the Secretary to Cabinet that before you say anything as a minister which has to do with policy proposals, make sure that it has Cabinet green light?
I think it's a step in the right direction because policy proposals are just ideations. And when we talk about policies, it's just about making a finely crafted idea so that it will be useful to society. So what the Cabinet Secretary is saying is simple, that if you have any policy proposal, go through the protocol system, and then Cabinet will meet on that. Once you submit the idea, and then they will do deliberation on it, then they will approve it before it becomes a policy and everybody can use it. Once you go solo on it, it could be a problem because they need a common voice and approval of the entire cabinet, which is the final decision-making body of the government, so that everything will be smoothened and the people will see the benefits of those ideas. So I think it's a step in the right direction.
Do you agree with those who say this in itself might stifle the directive that ministers would want to give their specific ministries? And should it be that so far as it borders on the state coffers, as in if the state would have to spend money on whichever policy you are proposing as a minister, then it must come to Cabinet? How about when the minister is just asking or pushing for an agenda where people need to change their behavior or attitude towards a particular thing? Do you think that when a minister has that kind of idea, it still must go through Cabinet?
I think so, because there's no I in a team. If Cabinet comes as a team with one voice, it makes more sense than individuals coming out with different ideas that will get a pushback. Let me give you a typical example. If a minister, and this is just hypothetical, if a minister says that long hairs is a problem at senior high school and that everybody who comes should have their hair cut short. Now, you have a lot of individuals and parents who are all stakeholders of education asking themselves that what is the correlation between long hair and then efficiency in academic learning? Does that mean that somebody with a long hair, somebody with dreadlock, or somebody who naturally have a long hair cannot learn? So people will have questions. But when it is coming from Cabinet, that is the decision of Cabinet, it makes it easier for everybody to accept it because it's coming from the entire government machinery. But when it becomes an individual idea and then that idea hangs on as a policy in people's mind, it creates problems for the government.
And finally, a lot of people are very interested and actually follow a lot of government officials and ministers, especially their public pronouncements. And also because of social media, everybody is into what government is doing. How does this play out if what they are saying, they need to now tell the public that, so the question is, should they now probably precede their public comments by saying that this has been cleared by Cabinet, so henceforth A, B, C, D, or they can just wait until they are given the approval, they cannot say anything about it?
Well, this is a very important question. We have something called productivity, and that can increase by changing your style. The style is you wait. In fact, our elder says that if you have something good, don't tell it until it is done. So there's something in leadership called coercive motivation using restrictive zones. And that is exactly what the government is doing. The government want to motivate them with ideas, but bring the idea to the cabinet, and then we all deliberate on that, approve it. Then we can all say that we are part of it. So the common voice is what I'm seeing in this that is happening. It is not inhibitive motivation. So people think that this is inhibitive, it's going to stifle innovation, and that is not the case. But I think that we're talking about taking risks. This is not risk avoidant mechanism of policy making. So there's more flexibility here, there is more creativity. You take risk, but then bring it over so that we all deliberate on that, approve it, then we'll make a public announcement of it. That makes sense to me.
Prof, thank you so much for speaking to us. Professor Enoch Opoku-Antwi is a governance analyst.
And now to another topical issue. Cybersecurity experts have cautioned government against passing the new cybersecurity bill in its current form, warning it could stifle speech and expose people to security dangers. Fears arrive that people and media houses could be targeted when officials are granted such wild powers as contained in the draft law. A former Minister of Information, Kojopo Nkrumah, in a media engagement, demanded that government backtracks from this legislation.
It's racing to fortify its cyber defenses by amending its old cybersecurity laws, but a draft bill circulating on social media has raised eyebrows. Provisions of the draft bill allowing warrantless inspections, asset freezes without immediate judicial review, and possible suppressed speech have left many in fear.
The government is now seeking, through this draft that it wants to consult on, to enact legislation that will now even ensure that when you put up a comment in your chat groups and they find it offensive according to their criteria, you could go to jail. And I think it's a very dangerous, encroachment into the area of free speech. The government needs to tread cautiously.
This is what President Mahama recently said, which many believe has resulted in this new bill.
We have what we call hate speech, incitement to violence. Those are criminal. If we don't regulate that sector, it can lead this nation to war. So I'm sending a signal to Ghanaians that we can find you those doing those hate speech and things. We'll use your IP number, we'll trace you. And when we trace you, we'll deal with you under the criminal code for inciting violence and disturbance of the peace. But I believe that beyond that, we must start making regulation for this new media because it's unregulated.
Cybersecurity experts believe this draft bill cannot pass in its current state.
I don't think that we should develop a stage or a particular, action that will evolve as moving into people's offices, carrying weapons and all of that, only just to amount to nothing. Before any arrest is made, right, it means that more investigations has already been done, and that is where the mandate of the cybersecurity office should actually be.
He agrees with the former information minister that some of the provisions of the draft law are dangerous.
If you are not careful and this bill ends up being passed, then it means that a whole wrong could actually happen where media houses can be targeted, companies can be targeted, private individuals and citizens can also be targeted. In the bill, I also did not see anything that speaks to instance where the individuals and companies could also sue when the cybersecurity authority goes overboard.
The communications minister has attempted to provide explanations to concerns raised across social media, but for many concerned Ghanaians, government must simply backtrack from this legislation.
Let's shift our attention to education now. The Minister in charge of Education, Haruna Iddrisu, is standing firm on his policy direction for teachers to use the mother tongue as a medium of instruction in early grade classrooms. According to the minister, research has shown that children learn better when taught in a language they understand, especially at the foundational stage of education.
Elsewhere in the world, you can provoke debate on public policy in order to guide implementing, fine-tuning the policy. My understanding is that I made some comment and gave a directive. I stand wholly and absolutely behind the directive.
The minister also defended the Ghana Education Service's renewed enforcement of discipline in schools. He emphasized that rules on hairstyles, dress codes, and general conduct are essential to instilling discipline and respect among students. He made these remarks when he paid a courtesy call on the management of the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, NACCA, and the Complementary Education Agency in Accra.
The Ghana Education Service must uphold the learning environment and the learning instruction has been important to understanding and improving foundational learning. As much as we all agree that we should go beyond literacy and numeracy texts, we are molding character and behavior. And I understand that my directive to the effect that teaching in Ghanaian language, maybe for purpose of clarity, I meant from Kindergarten up to grade 6. The language of instruction should be local Ghanaian language.
All right, so I mean, many of you have already been sharing thoughts on this particular directive from the minister, and it's actually been in existence for some time now. And what we are hearing is that for purposes of clarity, the mother tongue or the local language as a mode of instruction is for the primary schools, so from basic 1 to 3 or primary 1 to 3. From class 4, then a lot more English will be used, or English dominates the mode of instruction. So in the coming days, we'll get further clarity on how all of this plays out.
Certainly, Martin. But we're still staying on education. Executive Director of Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare, is asking government to focus on targeted teacher training and smarter postings in order to reap the benefit of using local language as a means of instruction in schools. This follows the sector minister's recent directive at the primary school level. Now, Asiedu has more in the following report.
Education experts have long argued that children learn best in languages they understand. Now, the Ministry of Education is turning research into action.
I'm directing the Director General of the Ghana Education Service and the GES that from today, teacher use of mother tongue instruction is now compulsory in all Ghanaian schools.
Reviving this directive means that from primary 1 to 3, pupils will be taught in their local language before gradually transitioning to English. Studies have consistently shown that pupils taught in their mother tongue perform better in reading, writing, and mathematics. One such research in the Bekwai municipality found that children taught in Twi alongside English scored significantly higher in maths than those taught only in English. Executive Director at Africa Education Watch is Kofi Asare.
Over time, the biggest challenge in using the mother tongue to instruct at the foundational level has been the limited alignment between the teacher deployment policies and then mother tongue instruction. Let's assume that 500 students complete Accra College of Education today and they are being deployed. To what extent will their deployment be determined by their indigenous language or mother tongue? That extent has been very, very, very low in the past 2 decades. That has been the major setback in implementing what we normally call L1 in education circles.
On the streets of Accra, there is massive approval for this new policy.
Give us full support, 100% support, because it's good to understand what we are saying. English language is not our language.
Very laudable initiative from the Ministry of Education or from the Minister of Education, and I will support it 100%.
As Ghana rolls out the renewed mother tongue instruction policy, its success depends on how well teachers and parents embrace the shift to ensure that every child learns in a language they truly understand.
Still on education, governance expert Professor Bafo Agyeman-Duah has chastised persons who fail to verify before enrolling and undertaking doctoral programs at certain institutions of higher learning. He urged the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, to continue sanitizing the space because it has now become a money-making scheme for most institutions in the Western world. Evelyn Tingma has more on this report.
The Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, continues with its crackdown and has now extended it to what it calls unaccredited programs and qualifications in higher learning institutions. GTEC has maintained that the move is to protect the integrity of the country's education system and ensure that academic qualifications are genuine. Recently, GTEC, in a statement, said it does not recognize a number of programs and qualifications of certain institutions of higher learning, including Suez Management Center and Universidad de Nicaragua. This sparked further concern as certain individuals who had held such titles of doctor and professor for long from those institutions has been asked to drop their titles. Governance expert Professor Bafo Agyeman-Duah said legitimate degrees required rigorous research and accreditation and urged GTEC to continue to sanitize the space.
The fact that you have used your title for 10 years illegitimately, and now it is discovered that you didn't deserve that title, all you do is drop it. Because you, as a person, if you have integrity and honor, you will verify whoever gave you the award. You don't enroll in an institution that is not accredited. Because people think it's the easy way to do things in a year or two that others take 8 or 7 years to do. But that is shortcut. I think GTEC is doing a great job seeking to sanitize the mess that has been created for the academic world in our country.
Online doctoral degrees have become common and most people now apply to study there other than the regular public universities in the country. This Professor Bafo Agyeman-Duah said it's a money-making scheme.
Now that the Western world has seen how Africans are thirsting for degrees and titles, in my youthful days, I never heard titles like engineer, professor, and so and so. Today, somebody may have 3 titles against the name. People think titles make the man, but it's not a title that makes the man. It's the character of the person that makes the man. And if we respect that, then I think people will be more careful how they present themselves.
He said those who have been asked to drop their titles lacked personal integrity, noting they could have done due diligence about the credentials of the institutions. Flexibility and access may be some of the reasons people will opt for online degree programs, but GTEC is warning the public to verify or check if an institution or program is accredited by GTEC before enrolling, as it has no intention to relax the rules. Evelyn Tingma, TV3 News, Accra.
Right, and before we go to our other stories we have for you this evening, we have an information request that has been made by a member of parliament for Tolong and the minority whip. I'm going to read portions of it for you in a moment. It says, request for information under Article 21F of the Constitution and Section 18 of the Right to Information Act 2019. So this letter is written by the Honorable Alhaji Habib Idrisu, who is the first Deputy Minority Whip in Parliament, and it is addressed to the President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and he is asking that at least interim report be made available to the public regarding the death of the 8 gallant Ghanaians who died in the helicopter crash. He goes on to ask that the nation mourn together following the profound loss of these gentlemen. He names them in the release and says that on the 25th of August, a committee of inquiry was established to investigate the circumstances surrounding the accident, and the public was informed that the findings would be made available within 30 days. Now, 30 days have passed, and he is saying that in light of the time that has passed and the significant public interest in the matter, I respectfully request a copy of the investigation report or update. The request is made in accordance with Article 21(1)(f) of the Constitution and also in line with Section 18 of the RTI 2019 Act 989. And the latter part is where many of you should pay attention to. It says, I also understand that some aspects of the investigation may take longer to finalize. If the complete report is not yet available, I would appreciate it if you could release a partial or interim report. This would not only keep the public informed, but also reflect the government's commitment to transparency during this difficult time. And it's signed by Member of Parliament for Tolong, First Deputy Minority Whip, Honorable Alhaji Habib Idris. So that's news just coming in from Parliament. If you go to our website, you get details of it as well.
Let's now take you to the court, where a 46-year-old Nigerian blogger has been charged with publication of false news, offensive conduct, and threat of harm after allegedly threatening to deal with leader of the APC party, Hassan Ayariga. Prosecution says the accused made claims that Ghanaians were planning xenophobic attacks against Nigerians living in Ghana. Ayisha Yakubu has more in the following report.
In court on Monday, October 27, Counsel for Destiny Austin Omon, led by Tosin Ojoawo, told the Adabraka District Court that his client remains unwell after he was allegedly attacked by about 100 people commissioned by the leader of the APC party, Hassan Ayariga, to carry out a citizen arrest. He produced a medical excuse duty to court officials and prayed for an adjournment citing the predicament of his client. The court, presided over by Mamia So Menyo, then adjourned the case to December 4. Lawyer for the accused spoke to the media.
So we have confidence in the court system in this country, and we know that nobody can take laws into his hand and believe nothing will happen. The law, no matter how big you are, the law is bigger.
For the brief facts of the case, the investigations of prosecution is indicating that he threatened the complainants, Hassan Ayariga.
Oh, we will not want to go into we don't want to go to the merit of the case. The case is already before the court, and we know when we get to court, everybody will present this case. The prosecution have a duty to prove their case, and the accused person also have a right to also defend himself, and that's why he has engaged the service of a lawyer.
Destiny Austin Omon allegedly created and shared numerous videos on social media targeting the complainant, founder of the All People's Congress, Hassan Ayariga, and Ghanaians. Hassan Ayariga alleged that the Nigerian blogger in a video alleged that he had declared his intention to carry out a citizen's arrest on the Igbo king in Ghana. The prosecution's brief facts also indicated that Hassan Ayariga apprehended the accused and handed him over to the police before filing a formal complaint. Destiny Omon was subsequently charged and arraigned before the court after investigations. Ayisha Yakubu, TV3 News, Accra.
In more news this evening, the Chief Executive Officer of the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, Julius Nikwe Kote, has announced that the DVLA will introduce biometric international driver's licenses and vehicle permits beginning next year. This move is coming on the wake of rejections of Ghanaian international driver's licenses and vehicle permits by some countries due to failure to meet international standards.
We are also having a foreign policy with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where DVLA will be located in most of the embassies outside Ghana. If anyone here gives you a passport picture and tells you that, get me driver's license, that license that will be produced for you is fake, because we need your biometric details to be able to produce you with a driver's license. But they are not here. So most of the license they have outside there is not really correct. It's not correct. But we can't give our software out to foreign countries to victimize our own. So we meet fit to go there with the help of Foreign Affairs to do the corrections for them. We were not able to meet ISO specifications when it comes to issuance of license, international license, and issuance of vehicle licenses, because it's just handwritten, which is not accepted by most countries. We procured machines, gotten the design to be accepted by ISO, so we can do proper international biometric page for our clients from 2026. The current number plate we have is not scannable.
And there was more. A banter ensued between the DVLA boss and the chairman of the committee. Let's bring that to you.
You said it's going to come with a lot of security details. Yes. And I'm asking that a number plate, let's say Ranking's number plate, you're saying that it will be equipped with security features such that if the police should scan, they'll know that truly it belongs to Ranking.
Yeah.
So what, because in putting out somebody's security out there, someone, I mean, a bad person can also get hold of that. So that is why I'm asking, what kind of information are you going to put?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. We have data protection law, so we'll be compliant with that law. Currently, what we have is just going to be the same form, but now in a digitalized form, not going to be the paper form anymore. So we are not going to move away from the information.
And it's not going to have the user's surname on the.
It depends on
the number plates.
It depends on what the law says. We'll go by.
You don't tell me depends on what the law says. You are doing it, so you should be able to tell us that the law says ABC. I'm asking you a specific question. Is it going to have the user's surname on the number plates?
We don't put names on number plates.
I asked a specific question. You said no. We are not going to put. Yes.
I was wondering why that question. Sorry, but we don't put names on number plates. That's why.
You were wondering why that question?
Because we don't put names on number plates.
What are you telling me? People pay to have their names on number plates. And you sit here as a DVLA boss, you tell me you don't put numbers on number plates. Haven't you seen specialized numbers with people's surnames and personalized names on number plates for yes or no, please?
Yes.
So why are you telling me you don't put names on number plates?
So I can explain that.
Not that you can explain that. You don't expect me to ask you that question.
The full video you'll find on our website, 3news.com, and also on our YouTube channel, so you can get a better grasp of how this banter ended. You're still watching News 360 on TV3. Stay with us. Business, sports, and entertainment coming up.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, fuel prices in Ghana may drop by as much as 4% in the coming days. That's according to the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, COMAC, which attributes the expected decline to the recent appreciation of the cedi against the US dollar, as well as a marginal drop in global crude oil prices. Prices at the pumps had surged earlier this month following a sharp depreciation of the cedi, but the trend began to reverse mid-month, with the local currency now trading around 10 cedis 70 pesos to the dollar, down from over 12 cedis 50 pesos at the start of October.
You should see a 3% decrease in petrol, 4% decrease in diesel, and 1.2% decrease in LPG. But at the same time, if you're talking about the credits, kind of customers, you might not be able to see that same dimension, but rather a bit lower in terms of decrease.
Fuel price reviews are typically influenced by global oil benchmarks, forex movements, and local taxes. Industry watchers say sustained currency stability will be key to maintaining lower prices at the pumps.
We expect more. In as much as the numbers are pointing to 2-3%, we expect more, especially when, like Dr. Sarkodie indicated, when you have the currency performing so strong, the expectation would be that prices would respond or correspond. Unfortunately, the reasons are often given why we are not getting so much when we should be getting a lot more. But at this point, if they could do 5% across board, I'm sure Ghanaians will find that significant.
The Old Achimota Association, one of Ghana's most esteemed alumni networks, has held its annual President's Ball and Fundraiser 2025 in Accra. The glamorous event, organized by the OAA 1995-year group, brought together distinguished Achimotans, corporate executives, and government officials for a night filled with celebration, networking, and philanthropy.
The annual President's Ball not only honors the school's rich legacy, but also serves as a crucial fundraising platform to support ongoing development projects on campus. The Old Achimotan Association aims to raise funds for infrastructure upgrades, scholarships, and sustainability initiatives, ensuring that Achimota continues to cultivate leaders for generations to come. Distinguished and committed alumni and staff were honored, recognizing their exceptional contributions. President of the Old Achimotan Association 1995-year group, Francisca Ametokpo, said the initiative offers numerous benefits, including improving social skills and providing a safe recreational space.
This initiative aims to achieve many benefits. Our vision is to build a world-class facility that would uplift, inspire, and serve as a lasting gift to generations to come. But we cannot do this alone. Your support must be intentional and meaningful, directed at financial, informational, instrumental, and community support.
President of the Old Achimotan Association, Joel Edmond Nete, urged all year groups to actively contribute and support the legacy of Achimota. He also called on the government to establish a reliable system for assessing and admitting students into various high schools.
As we look forward to our mother's 100th birthday, we find that we need to put a little more structure to what we do if we are going to be able to make meaningful impact as an association, as well as achieve the ginormous, as the Gen Zs will say, targets we've set ourselves. Not just to give back to the school, but also in many respects, to be the backbone and the lifeline of the school.
Assistant Headmaster of Achimota Senior High School, Anthony Ejay, in a speech on behalf of the headmaster, advocated for unity among the alumni.
And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. We'll bring you updates now from the currency and the commodities market.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. We start off from the local scene where Mediama Sporting Club reclaimed top spot in the Ghana Premier League with a hard-fought win over Swedru All Blacks, while Heart of Oak were held to a thrilling draw by BBND Gold Stars in Accra. Here's a report of what transpired across the various centres by my colleague Ayisha Yakubu.
So the Ghana Premier League is getting exciting and interesting, and already we are down with match day 7, which produced a lot of goals and some interesting results. Heart of Lions bounced back to winning ways quickly against Baseke Holy Stars, beating them by 3-0 on Friday at the Kpandu Sports Stadium. So Baseke Holy Stars are still in search of their first victory in this year's Ghana Premier League. Adriana also continuing their fine form at home, beating Dreams FC by a goal to nil. Sidibe scoring that winner for the Doma-based club as they got 3 points. Then Heart of Oak dropped 2 points at home to the frustration of their manager Masoud Didi Dramani, drawing 2-2 with current champions BBND Gold Stars. Heart of Oak got the opener in that game, but after the recess, Gold Stars scored twice and has had to fight hard, and George Parker got them the equalizer. They have them path for the winner, but the game eventually ended 2-0. Nations FC also defeated the 11 Wonders, who are being taken charge of by Asiedu-Dartey Lamte, and they are also in search of their first victory in this year's Ghana Premier League. But right after that game, Nations FC announced that they've parted ways with their manager, that is Kasim Mengel Okanse. But also newbies Swedru All Blacks and Hohoi United lost their respective games, which isn't good for them. So the top half of the table is occupied by Mediama, who are firmly rooted to the top spot, and the bottom half also has Dreams FC, Baseke Holy Stars and 11 Wonders. Both are yet to win in the Ghana Premier League. Remember that we are moving on to match day 8, which will be live on TV3 and Onuya TV.
Now let's do some women's football, where after skipping 2 training sessions in protest over unpaid bonuses, the Black Queens have resumed training and agreed to play their 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations second round, second leg match against Egypt. Now the team had earlier threatened to boycott the game until the outstanding payments were made. My colleague Ayisha Yakubu visited the team's training ground and found this report.
Calm has been restored, and the Black Queens of Ghana are training for the very first time at the Accra Sports Stadium after winning the first leg of the WAFCON qualifier against the Cleopatras of Egypt in Egypt. This time around, all 24 players have reported they are all here at the Accra Sports Stadium training to play the game tomorrow. Coach Kimlas Biokegrin, who will be managing his first home game here in Ghana, is upbeat about the team's performance tomorrow. He says the aim and the vision is simple: qualifying to the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations.
Yeah, happy to be back on the pitch again, of course, to do the final preparation for one important game against Egypt. We have put ourselves in a good situation, of course, with the 3-0 win, but it's just like halftime, so we need to finish and close this door now.
The coach was also asked if the distractions that have gone on in the past couple of days will affect the team as they prepare to play the game tomorrow. But he says that they will just be ready to deliver for Ghana tomorrow.
I think they will be ready tomorrow, yes.
From the Accra Sports Stadium, my name is Ayisha Yakubu.
And to remember, the Black Queens take on Egypt on Tuesday at the Accra Sports Stadium, and you can get all the updates, build-up and reactions ahead to that game on our social media handles at 3SportsGH and on 3News/Sports. My name is Oreku Ampofo. Entertainment news is right on after this break with Noella Donko.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by GTP Lifestyle and Napa Foods. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil. Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Well, good evening and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on News360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, Fantaman Girls Senior High School were on top of their game as they secured a golden ticket to the next stage of the country's biggest cooking competition, Kitchen Wars. Now, they currently lead the group with an impressive 279 points. Here are some highlights in case you missed the live show over the weekend. It's been weeks of culinary battles among various alumni groups across Ghana on TV3's Kitchen Wars. Season 4 of the exciting cooking contest has been nothing short of thrilling as alumni teams go head-to-head for ultimate bragging rights. This week, 3 schools, Odogono, Infantaman and Laboni Senior High Schools, took center stage in the kitchen, showcasing their culinary skills in a fierce bid to advance to the finals.
And that's the agenda today, actually.
Cook
Pick anything you want.
Wow.
Whatever you see. You've got 1 hour. Go for it.
Okay.
You know, be mindful of the time.
Okay.
Try out anything.
Okay.
I don't know what you guys have planned.
Okay.
But go for it.
Okay.
We are behind you.
All right.
We are supporting you.
In the end, Infantaman Girls and Laboni SHS stood out, securing golden tickets to the next stage of the nation's biggest cooking competition, Kitchen Wars. And that's it for the entertainment news segment here on News360. My name is Noella Donko.
And that's it for our package this evening. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey.
And I am Ayisha Yakubu. Join us at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight.